my channel. Today I have Erin Garner with me. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I normally do beauty related videos on my channel, but I really wanted to start interviewing some of my friends about their stories. They have really awesome Jesus stories that have come from brokenness, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of hope. So Erin, you can kind of introduce yourself.
I'm Erin, I'm 26 years old. I'm from Tennessee. I've been married for 3 years, and my husband and I just had our first little boy, Luke. He is sleeping in the back right now. Hannah and I grew up together. Her husband and my husband are best friends, and Hannah and I were also in a small group together. So I am a nurse, and I've been a nurse for about 4 years. But today I am gonna share a story that is a little bit more on the serious side. Just gonna tell a little bit about how my story has kind of shaped who I am today. I hope that Jesus is shown today. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. And we're both nervous for this interview because we've never done anything like this before. So let's go ahead and get on into it. We hope you guys enjoy. I'll have all of Erin's links and information in the description box below so you guys can go check her out. And with that being said, let's get on into it. So Erin, tell me a little bit about your life growing up and when you accepted Christ.
So my life growing up, my family didn't really go to church a whole lot or anything like that, but the first moment that I really remember, I guess, feeling the Holy Spirit was in like 4th grade. I went on a little church trip with my friend, and I think that was the time I actually like accepted Christ. But over the years, I didn't really have a whole lot of growth there. And then when Nathan and I started dating, about junior year, we started going to church, and that's when I really kind of started seeing the growth there. So Nathan and I kind of grew together in that.
All right, so tell me about your relationship with your dad.
So I am the middle of 3 girls, and so my dad was really into boyish things, and so he always wanted us to be tomboys, and so I grew up playing softball. I was terrible.
I didn't know that.
I did. And it was like rec league softball, but my coach would always get on to me because I would draw my name in the dirt and not pay attention.
That's awesome. That's me.
But so anyways, me and my dad were really close, and we kind of bonded through that because he wanted me to be a tomboy, and I was a girly girl, so.
That's awesome. Yeah. Do you have one special memory that you like will never forget with him?
I think the biggest memory that I think is the coolest thing is just that he was able to walk me down the aisle.
That's cool.
Just, yeah.
If I could hear my Father's voice, He would tell me to move on. He would say I'll be just fine. Yeah, He would tell me we have time to laugh and time to heal.
So you and your dad were super close, and then you found out that he struggled with an addiction. How did your relationship change after that?
So I think the time that I figured out, I remember we kind of had like a little family meeting, and we all went over to my parents' house to talk about it and approach him. And I remember just like the first time that I saw him, like I just shattered, you know, like I just broke down in tears. I couldn't even look at him, or just because that's not who he was. And, you know, so
that's not how you thought of him or grew up. Like,
yeah. So it changed in that my heart just broke, because I knew for him to get to that place, he had, you know, he had to have some really dark moments. And so it was just sad, and my heart just broke.
And about how long was he struggling for, do you think?
He told us it had kind of progressed over several years. Like it started, you know, as one thing, and then it kind of just progressed into a more serious situation. So I would say my 18th birthday was the first time that I realized, like, okay, you know,
he's struggling.
And then it all came to light and progressed. Probably, you know, 5 to 6 years before it was a real issue.
So your mom always kind of knew this, but never really told you girls either.
Yeah, and we saw pieces of it growing up, but you know, we were kind of sheltered from it, and he was a great dad, and so we didn't we didn't think of him that way.
Do you feel like it changed your family dynamic at all? Did you feel like you had to be strong at times for your family?
I think so. We were all just so shocked at the news, and so in the middle of 3 sisters, and so my older sister kind of acts as the strong one. My little sister acts as like she's just so sweet, and I am in the middle. Like I kind of play both parts, and so
I can see that. Yeah.
I like to be the peacemaker. I like to make sure everyone is happy, but at the same time, I'm very emotional.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it definitely changed my family's dynamic because we wanted to shelter my little sister without hiding things from her. Yeah. So, and then of course my mom, it was just a very hard situation. None of us really knew what to do or how to respond. So.
Okay. So would you mind telling us, I know this is going to get really deep and like emotional, but would you mind telling us what happened on the day of your dad's passing?
Okay. So I'll try to keep it together. So I was at work. It was a Saturday, and I think I was supposed to get off at like 2 that day. And I got a call from my mom around, I think it was like 10. And she actually texted us and said, "Girls, you need to call me now." And for some reason, when I read that text, I just knew.
Yeah.
So my dad was in Boston. He had been working. We had got my sister off to college in about August, the end of August or whenever it was. And then he went to Boston for several weeks. And so we talked every day. I think the beginning of October is when he was supposed to come home. But anyways, when I read my mom's text that day, I just knew. So I left work. My work friends are awesome. And I rushed to my parents' house. It was actually my little sister's 19th birthday, and we were supposed to go to dinner that night. So she was coming home from college to go to dinner with us. And so I rushed home to my mom, and what had happened was my dad, he had been rooming with someone, and he woke up that morning and didn't know where my dad was. And so he thought he just went outside, and then so he actually went into the bathroom, and that's where he found my dad. So,
okay.
Of course, since the situation was crazy, they had to do an autopsy, and the results were that it was acute accidental fentanyl overdose. So it was an accident.
Were you like going back and forth in your mind, like, did he do this on purpose, or was it an accident?
I didn't ever see my dad doing that, or but it definitely crossed my mind. I wasn't sure, and so the whole autopsy process took like 3 months, I think.
Wow.
And so it was definitely hard not knowing exactly what happened. And so.
So I know this was like a big one for you. Do you know if your dad ever accepted Jesus?
I am not 100% sure on that, and that breaks my heart to say. I know through small group with you heard me pray for it and heard me, that was a huge prayer request for a lot of the time. He did. He went to rehab twice, and after the first time, he really kind of started to dive into that, and he got baptized at church.
Okay.
So I don't know where his relationship was. I think that his addiction really definitely could mask maybe where his heart was. So I don't know for sure, but I hope that he did have a relationship with Jesus. I hope.
Yeah. So how did faith play a role in like calming yourself when you were thinking about like, is your dad in heaven or not? Because I know that's a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah, that was definitely hard. Like the main thing that people always say when people pass away is, he's in heaven now, he's in heaven now. And that was really hard for me because just with my background, I don't know for sure that he was. And so growing up, I had prayed for this for a long time. And so I had worried about this day, thought about what if, and thought that I would just not be able to go on.
Yeah.
And so the day it happened, of course, I was just broken. But it was so weird, like the feeling that I had, it was just peace.
Yeah, really.
And there's like the amount of times I had worried about this situation and been so scared that it would happen, the fact that I had that feeling, I knew it was from Jesus. And so that makes me have hope that through all those years of praying, my prayers were answered.
Jesus really does give you like the peace that passes all understanding. And unless you are in that broken place, I don't feel like people always feel that, but like I know from experience, and I couldn't imagine in your experience just like having that peace in time, like in such a broken time, is like that could only be from Jesus.
Right.
So was there ever a point that you felt angry at God, and if so, like how did you work through those emotions?
I definitely, my initial response, was kind of like fight or flight. I don't know if angry is the word, but I was like, what the heck? I've been praying for this. I've been praying for him to be healed and saved, and at the moment I didn't feel like my prayers were answered. And so I really my mind went to a really unhealthy place, and for a week or so I was in that unhealthy place, because right before the situation I feel like I had grown in my relationship more than I ever had, and so when this happened I was just kind of like, what do I do? And so the enemy really just took over me for that week or so, and I just went to a really unhealthy place. But it's crazy how when you fade away, God just pulls you back in, because we figured out about a week after the whole situation that we were having a baby. We weren't planning. We had no idea. It was a total surprise. If you would have asked us if we were ready, we would have said no. But it is just crazy how my mindset that had gotten to that dark place was just shifted.
That's crazy.
And I thought, God is trusting me to be a mom. Like, and I had to change my thought process. I had to change the way I thought, God is preparing me for motherhood and the struggles of life.
I really want to hear about the story when your dad asked you for, when are you going to give me grandbabies, basically.
So right before he left for Boston the last time, we were on the phone and he was like, when are you going to give me another grandbaby? He was like, I can't wait forever. And I was like, Dad, just wait a few more years, you know, and I promise we'll give you one. And so at that time when we had that conversation, I was pregnant and I didn't even know it. Which is so cool. And one of my friends now says, just think, the last time you hugged your dad, he was hugging your little baby. And
that is so cool.
I think that's crazy. Just the sweetest little image to imagine. So
he was inside of you. And if you see her little baby, you guys, like maybe if he wakes up, we'll bring him on. But he is just the most precious angel. Do you feel like he resembles your dad at all? Or
I do.
You do?
There's times where I'm like,
So is there one verse you cling to in times of sadness?
I feel like there's a lot of verses that kind of help me through the situation, but the one that I feel like has helped me with what I've struggled with the most, which is, where is my dad now? I don't know exactly what happened or where he was, and so it's Hebrews 11:1 has been my favorite one. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance about what we do not see.
I love that.
I have confidence that my dad is in heaven, but I can't know that for sure, and so that's where I have to have faith.
I love that verse, and I feel like that's such a good verse for anybody going through a hard situation, and so definitely write that one down. How do you find hope in the brokenness?
It is really, it's been hard at days, and there's days where I'm weak and days where I'm strong. But another verse, and I think it's Psalms 118:24 or something like that. It is, this is the day the Lord has made, let us rejoice and be glad in it. And so
I love that.
I have to just trust God has me here, for a purpose. And I think part of my purpose is just being able to share this story and hopefully help somebody going through. I don't have it all together. I don't know the perfect way to handle the situation, but I just have to keep going and know that God has a bigger plan.
And just telling your story is impacting so many people. What is one thing that you would tell others who may be struggling with an addiction or a family member with an addiction?
I think for me, I like to plan things. I like to know A plus B equals C. Like, I like to know a solution for things. And I think the biggest thing is just knowing this. You can't, there's nothing specific that you can do to fix a family member. It's just finding that balance of loving them and not enabling them.
What, like, one thing that you wish your dad would have done differently or known as he was struggling through an addiction? Like, what would you tell somebody struggling?
I think that he wanted to play that he had it all together. He wanted to get better so bad that he thought he could just say he was better and he would be better. He didn't want us to struggle or us to hurt because of him. So I would just say, don't be afraid to get help. You know, you have people that love you, people want to help you, and you aren't alone. And so just know when to get help, and it's okay to not have it all together.
Exactly, that's so true. My last question for you is, how has this changed your perspective on other people struggling with addictions?
I think for some reason, and this is crazy, but people look at addiction as such a bad thing. Like, you have to be a certain type of person to be struggling with addiction, and my dad is perfect proof that that's not true. He was successful, smart, family man. I mean, it can be anyone, and so this really changes my perspective. I just have a heart of love because I just want to show these people that, and I think even my dad struggled with just feeling low and down on himself because
he wasn't supposed to be this guy.
Yes. And so it's really changed my perspective that it can affect anyone.
Yeah, and like it can affect so many lawyers, like people that you would never think, like, oh, they're so successful, you know, but they can struggle just as much as any other person could. So thank you, Erin, so much for being on this interview with me. We were both like nervous doing this, but it was really cool just getting to talk to you and hear a little bit more about your story one-on-one. And we really hope that it can help you guys. Erin has a lifestyle blog. She just started not too long ago, and she talks all about her dad and her newborn baby, so you guys should definitely go check it out. I'll have all of her information linked in the description box below, and if you guys if they ever have issues, they can write you.
Yes, I have my email on the blog, and she can attach it, but I don't know the answers, but I'm definitely here to listen and help in any way that I can.
Yeah, so definitely reach out to her if you guys have any questions, or if you're struggling with the same thing. I'm sure she would be happy to talk to you guys, and she has some really awesome wisdom that not a lot of people have. So thank you so much for meeting with me again. We hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. So say hi to baby Luke.
Yay!
This is Luke.
He's not happy about it.
He's just waking up from his nap. And he is so cute. Look at his little eyes, too. He's like,
say
Mom,
hi.
this is too bright. You're so cute, little Luke.
Say hey, everybody.